I have known my guest for many years. We won't say how many, but it's been a while. And I only recently learned that she was eating plant-based, and I was over the moon because I've been doing this for 2.5 years. And I discovered that by doing what a million others are doing, following her on social media, that she was making these recipes and really leaning into this whole plant-based thing. She even has a bag full of vegan snacks and Clorox wipes with her. June Ambrose and her Juniverse often features her in the kitchen cooking up some of the most delicious looking dishes. And when she is not cooking plants or sharing a bit of her world on social media, June is styling the stars. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Missy, the list goes on, and just keeping us up to date on what is going on in the world of fashion and just everything. I can't just limit her to fashion because she is everywhere. The one and only June Ambrose. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. The energy is great. First of all, you look 10.
Oh, see, no. Then you look 5.
Well, we know that plants age you backward.
Let me tell you, I said I would be happy if I could just freeze right here.
No, I feel,
If this was it.
It's life-changing.
Right?
I'm slowly converting as many people as I can.
Well,
the people that I love especially.
People, like my boyfriend says that he's
Flexitarian?
yeah, he basically
My
says
husband's a
that.
flexitarian.
Says he's a non-binary when it comes to food.
But when he goes out to eat with you, he eats plant-based as well. So
And at home.
he's great. Okay,
We
good.
live together.
But when you let him loose on his own, he's
Every once in a while, I have a piece of fish and things like that.
oh, so he's not so bad.
No, he's not bad. He
One day
really,
at a time.
he gets, because he leans into it. He'll send me links. He'll be like, let's go to this restaurant.
It's amazing.
Let's go to this vegan space.
No, but that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need like a support circle. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, "Was it hard?" And I'm like, "You really need to have." It's like Alcohol Anonymous or any kind of anything you're detoxing from. Your whole life you were eating, animal or things that came from animals. So it's a little bit shocking to the body.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
At first. But
In a good way, though. I don't think
No, I didn't feel anything bad. I felt refreshed. I felt a lot of great energy. I felt aches and pains that I had been having.
I'm so glad you said that.
away.
I literally thought I was dying.
You did?
Yeah, I was like, I went to orthopedics. I was like, oh, it's because all these years of wearing high heels. I was like, I'm finally like, suffering from the, it's got me finally. And I was like, oh my God, is this what I never say growing old. I always say growing young feels like, because infants feel pain too. So I'm always like, I'm regressing. I'm starting to feel achy.
Benjamin Buttons.
Yeah, and I was just like, are these signs of it?
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get the answers. There was a number of things. It wasn't just like the aches in my joints, but I couldn't work out. I couldn't even run across the street.
Really?
I would wake up physically like my body was just, and at the time when I decided to go plant-based, my mom wasn't well, so I thought it was like also just me feeling her pain. Like when you're so close to someone and they're suffering.
Yeah.
So I thought it was that too, but then, I went on this journey to discover what was killing me. Mm-hmm. And for me, going plant-based was also about cognitive brain functions.
Yes.
Because of Alzheimer's being something that runs in my family and took my mother's life, I really started to understand what plaque on the brain, what are some of the preventative things
Okay.
just to kind of combat this disease. I don't want to just sit around like a ticking time bomb and wait for it to plague me because it's hereditary. Yeah. It's like hypertension, people of color were like, oh, well, my mom is, or my aunt or my uncle or my dad had this and this and that. So this is just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Runs in the family. And I'm like, I can't accept that. No. So in researching and reading a lot, I learned that sleep, diet, exercise, were 3 of the most important things to really kind of slowing down the effects of possibly getting Alzheimer's or that plaque on the brain. So that was all I had to hear.
Was it all in for you? Or did you just say one day I'm doing everything, or was it gradual for you?
Cold turkey.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too.
I'm just kind of like an all or nothing.
I know, I can be extreme that way.
Well, because I also was like, first of all, you have to be mentally and emotionally ready. Yeah. And it also gives you that feeling of control, especially when things in your life feel like you have no control over this aspect. This you do have control over. Yeah. And I always tell people, if you don't like the way it feels or looks, do something.
Right.
It's the same, do something about it. And I was just sick of complaining oh, my clothes don't fit, I feel gross. I just felt, and I hate saying this because I'm a petite woman, I felt fat. People look at me, they're like,
listen, skinny fat is a real thing.
Skinny fat is a real thing. I was a skinny obese.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was completely I was unhealthy. Not like I was a horrific eater. I was always a very conscious eater. I wasn't a girl who would sit down and eat like fried foods and macaroni and things that were very. I wasn't that girl, but I would love my pizza. I was a snacker. Not so much, but like I'm a foodie. Yeah. You know, I'm a foodie. So, and people think when they go plant-based, oh, I'm gonna have potato chips. I'm gonna have, French fries, and like they're like, well, I'm chubby. Like, what's that? You could be a mushy vegan too.
You can.
You gotta really, you gotta put the right.
You can just snack your way through it.
Yeah, and just be
unhealthy.
I know plenty of full-size vegans, plenty, curvy vegans. Yeah.
So what was it that made you say, okay, you said you were feeling sluggish, feeling some aches and pains, and
wasn't going to the bathroom regularly, wasn't sleeping. And then, like, again, if you're not sleeping, then the brain's affected by that. Yeah. That really starts to deteriorate the brain. Yeah. If you're not exercising, well, physically, I didn't have the energy nor the mobility to exercise. Yeah. And then just like, I just wasn't like, my body wasn't, I just stopped and I listened to my body. And most people don't do that because we're constantly living these high impact lives. We're always on the move, So we don't stop and just like, how they say, peace, be still. Yeah. And I would just I had so much time with myself and quiet time and with my, sitting there in the hospital with my mom, and I could physically just kind of close my eyes and just listen to my body. And I was like, something is not right. And I said to my doctor one day, I said, well, do you think I'm allergic to cheese? I said, do you think that's why I have acne? Like why I have so many breakouts? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, this is strange. I said, I think it has to be the diet. It has to have something to do with it. And, for years, Marco Borges from 22 Day Nutrition, who's Jay and Beyonce's nutritionist and trainer, he's been trying to he's like, yo, man, you should go plant-based. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I need to have meat with my food. I'll eat vegetables, but I need a protein.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm like, I need a protein. I was like, I can leave the carb alone, and I don't have to, I said, I need a piece of fish, and I have some vegetables. Like that was like meant to, like if I had a bowl in front of me, a meal in front of me, and there was no protein, I would just think it was missing something. Mm-hmm. And it's just so mind-blowing how your life, your palate, everything changes when you discover that you don't need certain things in your life. It's like a bad relationship. If this person is hurting you, you have to get away from them. If this person's not serving you or making you feel good and not making you smile, not making you operate in the right way, you have to break up.
And food is a relationship.
It's a relationship. Yeah. I literally should have been like 1,000 pounds. I love food. I still love food. I'm a foodie.
I love food too. Let me tell you what I had today. I had a leftover, what is it called? Is it shawarma? When you wrap it in like a pita. Yeah. I do purple carrot. The meal kit delivery. Nice. So it's.
Okay. Are you loving that? Is that helpful?
Yes.
So they have a great plant-based.
It's a great plant-based thing, and it just 30 minutes is all that you'll spend in the kitchen.
That's great.
And if it's just you eating, you'll have leftovers for lunch the next day or something, or if it's you and you can do it for two people.
No, I've heard these are really good. I always tell people, encourage them to do there's so much access out there. There's so many cool people on social you can follow that are vegans. There's so much stuff you can Google for recipes. Yeah. It's not a foreign idea, eating plants.
Not, but some people still can't wrap their heads around it.
Oh, I've had many conversations, like ignorant, long conversations.
It just, and some of it is crazy.
I always say, I said, what, at the end of the day, it's like when you tell someone who's like overweight, like, oh, you have to lose weight. And they're like, well, I love my body. I love who I am. And I'm like, I'm not speaking about that at all. It's just a lot on the heart. It's just a lot and then they discover, a year from now that they have diabetes, they have genital heart failure, or this heart disease, and then it becomes real. Yeah. So, for me, it was less about the physicality of it in terms of like it was less about me like wanting to be like a skinny girl, because I'm still not a skinny girl. Yeah. It was more about me just like feeling alive again. And that was so important because I lived such a high performance life that in order for me to sustain and be my best self, I knew that I had to make some changes. And it was just, the timing was really good.
I know. And don't you just feel so much better? Yeah. I was really settling into, I'm going to have chronic knees.
No, I thought I had a torn cartilage. I thought I had we did MRIs. We did everything. I kept going back. He was like, there's nothing. I was like, well, is it arthritis? It was inflammation. It was inflammation in my joints.
Inflammation.
So, yeah. And when you think about it, like, you know, cows feed their calves, and like that milk is for their babies. Right. It's not for humans. No. You know, like, it's like cows are vegan. Yeah. They eat plants. You know, the ones that aren't injected with all kind of other stuff. But like, I just don't trust also the farming industry neither. I'm like, you know, it's like it's tough. I mean, listen, there's some veggies that we have to keep our eye on as well. But one battle at a time. Let's not get nutty, right?
Yeah,
so.
I can't with the extreme stuff. It's like Dr. Sebi. Somebody who followed Dr. Sebi, I had a conversation with him.
Nightshades and all that. Yeah,
come on, broccoli is man-made. I was like, okay, I'm not doing it. I'm not going that far. Yeah. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm not ready to lean into that optimum level of health and veganism. Not yet. Not yet. No. So, are you a converter? I know you said people close to you, that your daughter is close to it. Your son, I mean, and with friends, and when people are open to it, do you try to talk the talk?
I think it's like religion too. You know, it's like if you know, just because like if you're a Christian and you believe in God, doesn't mean that you have to judge someone who doesn't. I think initially I was like I didn't want to be alone in it because I knew how good I felt and I wanted to share that feeling. But I realized there's ways of going about it. Like in my career in styling, like I can't just make someone over like that. Yeah. That's not the process. It's a journey, right? So the same approach to someone discovering their personal style of oneself or building a character or whatever it is that we're working on, it's the same process. So I can only influence them, inspire them. I can kind of introduce them to new ideas. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. So whenever I go to dinners, if like my girlfriends, whoever, we're doing double dates, whatever, and they want to go to dinner, hey, let's try a plant-based restaurant. I guarantee you won't be mad. Or let me cook. And like, no one misses anything. No one ever leaves dinner with me or breakfast or lunch, whatever, and they're like, oh, girl, you crazy. Like, no, I just don't have that experience.
I can tell from social media.
I do.
You know what
people, my kids eat my food. That's the test. When you get a from the time they were young, but even like teenagers, you know, their palates change. If you can still get them to want to eat your food, that is something to be said there.
Is there a cookbook in your future?
That's a lot of work. I don't know if people are really invested in cook. Maybe something digital, something a little bit more like now. I mean, I'm an author, so I know like how the whole publishing world goes.
That's what I meant.
If I had like a show that had like this huge audience and I can go #1 overnight, but like the work that I had to do to promote my first book, I've learned a lot. So it's just, I realized that there's so many other aspects to selling certain things. For now, I just kind of share bits and pieces of it through my daughter has a cooking show actually on YouTube, so it's great. It's called Summertime. She's great, but she's also like a culinary genius. Like she's been to culinary school, like that's her thing. People always thought she was going to go into fashion. I didn't ever think she was going to go into fashion because she's so much of her own person. But she's creative, so she'll style a plate, she'll design a dish. You know, it's still the same creative process. You know, she's still kind of creating something from nothing, or, you know, filling in the white space and seasoning. And I'm always like, oh, well, just like, you know, look at a plate or a dish like you would look at dressing. You want to flavor it with color and things. All that stuff is accessories to make something taste really good. So when I'm talking to friends about how to really approach plant-based cooking and living, I'm like, pace yourself and think about all the things you love about your like foods you love now without animal. So if you think, if you're an Italian and you love like homemade pasta sauce and all these things, you can achieve all of that. I found really good. And then there's some substitutes, and I always have to warn people from like the meat substitutes are not like, you can't replace meat with the substitute meats, the Beyond or all that stuff. It's like they're great, but they're like a treat.
It's a treat.
It's like it's like
it can't be your everyday.
No, the sodium is super high. You can't give up one, you know, poison for another. You know, so I just always tell them to like think about flavor. I think that's what gets people into it all the way. Like our palates, we love flavor, and no matter what, you know, country or where you're from, even if it's an American dish, find those things you love, whether it's like garlic, whether it's fresh herbs. I'm Caribbean, so I tend to use a lot of curry, a lot of cumin, a lot of turmeric, which is really great for inflammation. And there's so many like great things in the spices that are really good for like just the healing properties and stuff like that. I have a salad dressing now that's great. It has charcoal in it. And I take charcoal pills
hearing
too.
about charcoal.
So good.
I haven't leaned into that yet, but I keep hearing about. When I this nice wig, I cut my hair off, and when the woman, thank you, but the woman who cut my hair off for the big chop, she gave me. She's very holistic, so she gave me a bottle of magnesium, and she gave me this bag of clay, and I have yet to dig into it yet because I'm like.
You're like, what do I do?
What do I do with this?
There's so much more to discover. I tell people I'm not an expert. I'm not but I have a good mentor. Like Marco, who worked with, Jay and introducing them to the plant-based life, and who's one of the founders of that world. I can call him, and that's why I say if you have a sponsor, find that person that knows it. Talk to them, and also see your doctor before you do it. Find out, just for your own peace of mind. See where your blood levels are. See if you're deficient. If you're deficient in any area, and then go back 6 months later and then see where you are, or go back a year later and see where you are. If you don't see any change, if you don't see any drastic changes, and because you changed your food, if there are no changes there, then you're fine. You go for your annual. But like I did the 6 month, and I was good. It was like I was really good. Like, everyone's kind of D deficient because we don't do a lot of sun. Yeah. Because black is cracking. But otherwise, I wasn't like, he wasn't concerned. And some modern medicine doctors will say, oh no, no, you need your fish, you need meat. You're gonna be low in iron. You're gonna be low, and that's the first question. Yeah. How are you getting all your vitamins and your nutrition? How are you supplementing that? Right. There's no way. I know kids who were plant-based from the time they were born. Yeah. They don't know. Just fine. And they're fine. Yeah. They don't even have I know some that aren't even vaccinated. Girl, that's a whole other show. Yeah, it is. It's a whole other show. It is. I did the vaccination, but to each his own.
Yeah. As we're in these coronavirus times. No vaccination for that. How are you feeling about that, the whole coronavirus, with your Clorox wipes in your bag?
I went to a group therapy, stress therapy session for it.
Tell me about this.
Yeah, it was just, sometimes you need to compartmentalize your feelings, your anxieties. I was having anxiety you just suffer from anxiety every night. Life is a lot going on, and you need a place to kind of like unpack it. Yeah. And I've never done group therapy. I've never done therapy before. So it was very interesting. It was my first time in the group. But this group meets they were at my wellness center. And it was great. It was such a kumbaya. We talked about that subject. And then we talked about the underlying things that were really, the corona was just distracting us perhaps from other things. And that distracted us from the corona, because then we started to unpack the other things. We were unpacking like the other stuff, so you're like, no, but it's stressful, it's because you don't want to be wrong. You want to live your life, and I'm very kind of like spiritual in the way where I'm like, oh, that's not the way I'm going to die. I don't think at least I don't think that's what he has in mind for me. But if it is, then I have to accept it. I'm kind of like that. I don't want to stop living and I'm not a panicker. Right, but sometimes because you're such aloof and you're so like, oh, I'm I'm kind of like like living my own world bubble kind of girl that I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah. See, and I have respiratory issues. So for me, like the other night, you talk about anxiety. I was up and I could not sleep. I had to take some herbal tea and do some aromatherapy with oils in order to sleep, because I was just like, should I be self-quarantining? Should I be cautious? Oh, I've talked to a few doctors, and I am very cautious with it.
I've canceled flights.
I'm on the verge of canceling a flight. I'm supposed to go to Atlanta in a couple of weeks, but I was supposed to go to a movie screening last night, and I canceled that.
Supposed to go to Atlanta, accept an award, and
I'm going to Atlanta.
Yeah, as of right now, the trip is canceled, just because I can't afford. Because other people in my life, I'd probably survive.
And that's the thing, people who take it lightly, it's just like the flu. You may not die from it or get gravely ill from it, but you may pass it on to someone else.
Hopefully things will shift.
I hope so.
And I can change my plans, because I really wanted to be there.
Yeah, I haven't canceled yet, but
Things are canceled for you.
Oh, the whole movie industry.
Yeah. Things are canceling. Yeah. Well, people are just like, they just postponed some.
South by Southwest.
Yeah, they got, and Coachella's on its way. There's a lot going on.
That's a lot that's going
Got to keep an eye on it.
So speaking of all of these things, because you are out there a lot, you travel a lot, you're on tour.
Which I'm never on tour, but I did that tour.
You did.
That was unique for me because normally I'll design a tour and I'll send my team.
Why did you want to go on this one? And can we say who you went on tour with?
I was on the run. I was literally on the run. I had laid my mom to rest, and then I needed to do something quickly, and I went back to work a week later. Yeah. And I think I went back to work because of the people I knew that I was going to be with, and I think my family, my husband, everybody felt like, oh, she's going to be with people who love her, and they were just so gentle and understanding and was so helpful in the process, in the grief process. But I was in Paris for like 40 days. And I went to all these countries that my mom never did. Yeah. So it was kind of nice. To every country I went to, I left something in every country, like a lock with her name on it in every country. So it's kind of like I left a piece of her. Or just like her memory or just, so that part was helpful. I just needed to be busy, and it was actually fun being on the road in all these countries as a vegan too, because every country I went to, I was looking for. I was like happy cow, like I was like.
That is your
yeah. I was like, literally, we would advance. My assistants, I was like, okay, where I'm going next. My assistants would advance every city and figure out what the best vegan spots were for me to eat. They would call the hotel ahead. They would let them know my dietary restrictions. Yeah. Like I was completely like spoiled, but it was really fun. Kind of discovering how many countries have these really cool plant-based restaurants.
And good food, right? Good food, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Were you the only one that was touring with this group?
We had a vegan chef on the road, and they had a vegan kitchen, it's like a kosher kitchen. It's really important that you don't cross-contaminate, and if you're really focused on it, then you literally become a little annoying because, you go to restaurants and you're like, well, what did you saute your beans in? And blah, 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 because your body won't welcome it once your body has pretty much signed off on certain things. If it comes to it'll make it very messy. So but the vegan chef was amazing. So creative.
That's
so
incredible.
Creative. Yeah. And they had their own kitchen, so it was super cool. There were a lot of vegans on tour. Yeah.
That's nice. Have you ever, whether you were at a restaurant, probably not on this particular tour, but have you been somewhere where it's not a vegan plant-based restaurant and you order something and you're like, I think that has dairy in it, or
that's happened, totally.
How do you deal with that?
I just simply say, the best way to deal with it is saying, this is a health issue. It's a diet.
I'm allergic.
Yeah, because if you don't, they don't understand the severity of it. They think you're just being like extra. A nut job. Yeah.
They do.
Like a freaking radicalist or something. But yeah, I say to them, no, it's really important that I said I'll have a really bad reaction to it. So, can you just talk to chef? Or I say, can you have chef come out? Yeah. I meet all the chefs at the restaurant. Every restaurant I go to, they love that when you ask to meet them. Yeah. So any restaurant you go to that's not like plant-based, that's like has plant-based options, but the kitchen is not like a vegan kitchen. Have them bring the chef out. Have them bring chef out and just talk to chef about, and then he'll say to you, well, we fry this in the same oil we fry this, and I wouldn't suggest that. Yeah. Let me saute this for you here. They'll become a lot more invested in, your journey there. And chefs want you to enjoy their food.
They really do.
They love that. It's like, they're artists. So it's like almost complimentary to them. Yeah. I haven't met a chef that was pissed that I called him out of the kitchen. Yeah.
I know. That's a really, really good tip.
Yeah. No matter what kind of restaurant it is. It could be like a straight up dive. Call them out.
I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing that tonight when I'm going to go to Catch Steak. It's a new steak restaurant, but they have a chicken cacciatore dish that's vegan.
Yeah, listen.
I know.
There's some good ones. There's some really good
I'm going to ask for the chef, and I know the PR team there, it's new.
That's good. That's something that's really new.
It's new. But Catch, have you been to Catch?
Yeah.
This is Catch Steak. It's brand new.
So it's not the same owners?
No.
Because I know the owners of Catch.
Yeah.
I'm calling Mark like, Mark.
This is new.
You didn't tell me. And so they just have vegan options?
They have vegan options.
Oh, okay, but it's not a vegan restaurant.
No.
Okay. Have you done ABCV?
Yes.
Oh.
I love ABC.
It's my favorite.
Have you done PS Kitchen?
I have, yeah.
I love that place.
It's okay.
You don't like it?
It's okay. I like Ja Ja Ja.
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
That's Mexican, right?
Yes.
I have not been there yet.
Ooh, okay,
but I've been to...
So I'm going to try one. Okay, give me another one so I can tell you about it. Did you do dirty candy?
No.
Try that.
Dirty candy.
Yeah.
Have you done Urban Vegan Kitchen?
Yep, I have.
Have you had their chicken and waffles?
That's like a treat too, like a seitan or like a soy.
That's a big on top
I'm
of
not
waffles.
like when I'm cheating,
seitan.
I find my body getting very fluffy when I do things like that.
I'm in a whole fluffy.
So
I'm in a
yeah,
whole
so
fluff
like
mode right now.
like the waffles and chicken to me is like I might as well just have chicken and waffles because I'm like it's too many calories.
That's not true.
It's too many calories. But I'm a
yes.
calorie counter before I was vegan.
Oh, see, I should be. I mean, I eat relatively healthy, but I do splurge.
Like you have to be happy. You can't be like unhappy. And I got to a place where I was like super gaunt and I had the family intervention. They pulled me to the side. So I put on some weight for them. No, for me too. I was always like sick. I had a cold every 5 minutes. So when I get down to a weight it's just not healthy for me. You have to know where your where your safe zone is. I always tell people that like being like svelte and slim is great, but if it's not a healthy place for you, then you have to seek some counsel.
That's true.
You know, and it becomes more of like a mental thing. You know, when you can't really. And it was like a mental thing where you get body dysmorphia. It's like a thing. It's not a shameful thing, but it's like a lot of women suffer from it. And men too.
Yeah, I have friends. I have people that I know who are very small, size 0, and they're always like, oh, I need to lose some weight. And I'm just like, but Wagamama is not vegan, but it's British based.
Oh, nice.
And they have separate cooking. Not a whole separate kitchen, but they are very careful with it. It's Asian fusion, and they have
Wagamama in New York.
Wagamama in New York. They have different locations. It's a quick, it's kind of like a quick. It's a chain, but it's good food.
Okay.
And they have vegan ribs. I know, but they also have a lot of other Asian. They're so good. I know.
There's a lot of good, fun new options.
There are.
I like Nick's. Nick's is great.
I haven't been to Nick's.
And I actually love
your
Nick's.
list.
Yeah, we'll share lists.
Bar Zero. Have you been there?
Been to Bar Zero.
Yeah.
They're closing now. It's another one they're closing. But you've done Blossom.
I've done Blossom. Have you done in Brooklyn Greedy Vegan?
No, I haven't ventured out to Brooklyn. Oh, no, not true. I went to a really good farm to table vegan restaurant in Williamsburg.
What is this?
I gotta look it up again. It's so good.
I
I love farm to table. I'm a food snob, so that's another thing about me. Like, it has to look like really, really like clean and pretty.
That's why you like ABCV. Yes. And have you been to? Is it Exist? Is it Exist? The way it's spelled with the letters, but it spells yes.
Blossoms, blossoms up in between cheap and cleaner.
Because they have so many options.
Yeah, when I first. People like, oh, I'm vegan. I went to what's the baker girl's name? She started it's like a chain as well now.
Oh, Chloe.
By Chloe. I'm like,
Chloe.
That's like McDonald's for vegans.
Yeah,
it's like good crack, right? I'm like, oh, it's so sweet, it's so good. I used to love it. So whenever I want to cheat, I'll go and have a vegan donut. But like, it's not. It's very fattening.
I know.
And a lot of sugar.
I went to Black Tap, the burger place, and they have a vegan shake there that has an actual piece of vegan cake on top of the thing. It has to be 2,000 calories. At least.
At that point, to me, it's like, you're defeating the purpose.
I know. It was delicious, and I'm not a sweets person, but I went for, just to get some content.
I found a really great place in New Orleans, and I'm sure your podcast, everyone's like all over. Like, I have like a list of like, I feel like I could have done a show on like vegan spots around the world. Because I was just like doing it. I was like, oh, I wish I was documenting this. I was doing it on my Instagram, but it was like so good.
You can always go back because
I know. I was like, ooh. This one was called Bearcat, and it was just like the guy's mom the chef his mom has celiac. So half the restaurant was vegan, half the restaurant was non-vegan, but it was like the most incredible vegan kind of comfort food. But it was clean. I don't know if like scrambled tofu, and it was just like the mashed roasted potatoes, The pancakes were outstanding. Like, it was just clean. It was really, really good.
Have you been to La Artisan in Miami on South Beach?
No, but I'll put it on my list. Life-changing.
Put it on the top of your list. Let me tell you, quiche. It's all vegan.
Nice.
When I tell you this woman studied somewhere in France, but she's Latin.
Oh, I love that.
And
There's a
it's a
French
complete
vegan restaurant down in
bakery.
the village.
Oh.
Like crepes and all that stuff. You would love it. I'll send you
This
that one.
woman has croissants.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, La Durée in LA now has an all vegan restaurant.
Really?
And the French, they don't really understand vegan. So what the chefs have been able to create for French culinary cuisine out of veganism, it's like unbelievable because they love butter. So when I was in France and I was in Paris, I kept saying to them, vegan, they don't understand vegan. So yes, vegetarian, quiche. They would say, oh, no problem, macaroni and cheese. So they would be like, because they think it's vegetarian.
Yes.
They don't know that it's like no animal. I literally had to give my hotel recipes.
Yeah.
Literally have to send the chef. Me and the chef were like this by the end. He learned to make like vegan crepes and stuff like that. Yeah, it was fun.
I love that because it's possible. You just have to be skilled.
And you
in
have
the
to really
kitchen. You
pay
just have to know
attention.
what
But a vegan
substitute, what
croissant
to use.
that's a wonderful experience. Oh, I miss certain things. Like it's nice when you can find those things. Yeah.
It's not, yes. Because I had one filled, it was my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So I had one filled with mushrooms and truffles and things like that. And then I had another one that had apple pie.
Nice. But that's in Miami though.
It was in Miami. So it's far enough away.
I might get on a plane for that. That sounds good. Oh, that sounds really good.
Coronavirus. I know. It's, let me tell you, this woman is skilled. You want to.
Not coming to New York?
No, I asked. She's just, it's a little tiny place.
I'm trying to get Bearcat to come to New York. I'm just like, this is way too good to keep here.
I know.
It's the best find in New Orleans. I'm telling you. I was like, best kept secret.
Well, I have to get to that.
If you go to the Essence Fest this year. Like,
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
hopefully this thing will be done.
I hope so. Well, the summer should be better.
They're looking at this yeah.
Well, they say it may be dormant a bit in the summer, then it may pick up in the fall. So maybe we can run everywhere in the summer, and then
We won't have any money because the economy is tanking.
do it all. I know.
We'll be also eating a lot of like people like, oh, being vegan is so expensive, and I'm like, buying a steak and lobster isn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
I was just talking about that when I opened up the podcast, and I'm working on a piece for my website about if I have one more conversation with people who say, but it's so expensive, and I'm like, start with the fact that you're not buying meat or seafood anymore. Think about how expensive that is.
I think that they're thinking like the designer supermarkets that we tend to shop at. Like Whole Foods is a designer supermarket.
Yeah, but even their prices are lower these days. I mean, it's not.
They're trying to get there, but like you have to think about like the average, income in a household. You look at those numbers and you start to do the math. It really does. It is a difference. You can get cheap chicken for like $5. It's not real, but I'm just saying that that's what they're used to. Ground beef and that kind of stuff. So when you look at in comparison to that, you're paying for like $8, $9 for some jackfruit in a small package. See, we're a little bit jaded.
Well, that's like when you buy stuff like that, like the seitan or the tofu. You can make a lot of those things yourself. It's time consuming.
Yeah, it is very time consuming.
But you could make those things, and then you don't have to have those things as a lot of, Hearts of Palm, a can of that is what, $2-3? And you can make so much out of that. I made these fake imitation crab corn dumplings with jackfruit. I'm so proud of myself in the kitchen these days. Thanks to Purple Carrot. I have to give them a shout out.
My daughter, Summer she makes me vegan pot stickers. They're so good. We just put the recipe up I tease it on Instagram and then I put it up. She's on her YouTube right now. The link is in my bio.
How did you become when did you say, I'm going to just take over social media? It is so, and when I get up in the morning, I'm so happy when I can go to my Insta stories and just follow just what happened to you the day before.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It gives me such joy.
I think that's important because that's also saying that there's this really organic connectivity, and people tend to isolate people who are popular, and you start to feel alienated, and you know what I mean, and the people that you really want to engage with, consumer based people, like good citizens, and it's nice when someone can say you make me happy, and it's less about oh my God, like I'm following you because you work with this celebrity, or, you know, you're wearing this high-end brand, but they really kind of just see through all of the joy and the pain and the journey, and then they feel part of the process. And I think that's what the social media, it's nice when you can follow someone and feel like you're part of their universe. Yeah. Right? So like the fact that you say that you get the universe makes me like, it makes me feel like my programming is like when people, when the, you know, the big boys say, oh, well, you know, you need to maybe polish it up a little bit, make it a little bit more formatted, maybe take more professional photos. I'm like, well, I'm not like a professional blogger, you know, like, you know, and you gave me the influencer's title. Right. You told me I was influencing people, so I'm not going to say that to you. Right. But no, you know, but the experts will say, you know, if you could just kind of tighten up a little bit. And I'm like, well, it seems to be working. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I love when there's something. I love the Rock Mom Chronicles. I love when you add something new, like the whole dress, undress thing that you do. Yeah.
One this morning is Fashion Friday.
I love those.
I'm renovating my apartment, so I'm living out of like 4 suitcases. And I'm like, I've been doing them for a while now. And I have to condense my wardrobe even more because I moved to another place where we're still renovating. We're like we're kind of, you know, we're kind of into like over our expected time of being completed. So now I was like, okay, I'm going to curate my wardrobe even more. So now I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to like put more clothes together? So now I'm like having even more fun reworking things that you guys may have seen already and how to remix that. That's kind of fun. Like I always tell people, challenge yourself. Pack a bag that you can turn into like 10 different outfits. So if you pack 5 or 6 things, can you turn into 10 different things? Challenge yourself.
That's a big challenge.
It's fun.
That's easy for you.
It's a challenge if you don't think it's because you don't do it. Yeah. If you start to do it, like when you set out to, you know, become plant-based and vegan, it was a little bit of a challenge, but then you became really good at it. Right. So it's the same thing. In everything that's in life that we're going to learn about is going to always be, you know, a little challenging, right? Because we're learning.
Yeah, I want to see what's in your bag.
Well, people always ask me, I know we got to go, but you...
Yeah, look, I want to see real quick, because you have snacks.
My favorite crackers.
Oh!
If you want to make, like, a grilled cheese sandwich, my nutritionist was like, oh, and also having a nutritionist is also really, if you can find a way to talk someone into, you can find the money, but doesn't have to be so expensive, but you can consult with nutritionists also.
And there are books out there, vegansexycool.com. I interviewed a couple of nutritionists who have great stuff.
Oh my God. So if you're having guests, and this is, the best. But I went through a number of different cheeses and stuff like that to figure out what I love.
You don't do the Miyoko's cheese?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, it's so good.
I always keep like in case my sugar is falling low, I want natural sugar, so I have a little tangerine in here. And this is my cashew butter. Now roast carrots, like roast some carrots, put a little cumin, a little salt and pepper, and then put some cashew butter or almond butter on your carrots. It is so sweet.
I never thought about that.
So good, sweet and savory. And then I love these rice cakes.
This is a deep bag. I love this.
It's a ball of fun. Yeah, and then that's it. And then I have my Clorox wipes and my hand sanitizer.
What's your go-to grocery store? Where do you shop?
Whole Foods. I have like my wellness market, Clean Market. I love to.
Have you been to Orchard Grocer yet?
Yes, I love my local Amish market. Yeah, I do. I love Orchard Grocer. But I spend a lot of time at like Trader Joe's, but a lot of Whole Foods.
I can't do Trader Joe's. I don't get it.
Trader Joe's is a little scary, but if you look for the organic things here and there, you have to be careful with some of their private label stuff. So.
Yeah, they have a new mac and cheese that's vegan. I tried the other day.
How was it?
Very good.
I don't like the frozen foods neither.
Oh, yeah. Too much sodium. Yeah.
That's nothing to just be aware of. Like, I know there are quick solutions, and I'm glad you're doing the meal plan because you get away from doing that. You do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just out there trying to figure it out. The meal...
It's really not that hard, and I want to get back to this before we end this. Yeah. Think about like all the foods you love. Like if you love Italian, if you love Spanish, think about all those flavors you put into those meals. Yes. Just subtract the animal. Yeah. That's it. you still get all, if you look at some of my recipes on Instagram, there's like a tag in my Instagram at the bottom. It's vegan cooking, cooking chronicles. And you'll just see like they're just, I love bowls. So I literally just do like grains and like I'm always making dal and I'm always making like all these, and just keep filling it with vegetables, squash, all your favorite stuff. And look at the color. Also, when it's visually appealing, it makes you very happy. It's literally releases endorphins. If you have like, you know, there's some great vegan chocolates that are really healthy for you, that, you know, dark chocolate.
The dark chocolate.
If you feel like you just have a little bit of sweet tooth and you want to kind of deal with that craving, I mean, there's all those kind of great things. And there's some great plant-based yogurts that I love. I love the Ava, the lava one.
The lava
Lava's my favorite.
My absolute favorite.
Yeah, and
Because they have that little bit of lime in there that makes it taste a little tart.
really good. Yeah. So
My favorite. Oh, this is
we love some of the same things.
I know. June, thank you.